Inside, yes, Mickey, with less than a 16th to go. What the Hill, a short lead. Lindy the Great to the inside. Yes, Mickey, coming to the wire. It's What the Hill and David Miller winning the...
Pocket setter turned first over attacker What the Hill. And behind them, Dover Dan from in third. International Money still got work to do. They're in deep stretch, and here comes What the Hill. And Miller on the outside. What the Hill converting off the pocket trip to win the Canadian Trotting Classic. He won it by 3 going away. It's What the Hill.
Third, 3/4, 124 and 2 into the stretch. Looks like a Chippendale appears to be on the verge. Crazy Wild trying to fend him off. Room at the rail for What the Hill. He's raging late. And in heavy traffic is Pinkman on the far outside. Dayson trying to close in. But off the rail comes What the Hill, the 3-year-old. What the Hill to seal his division. What the Hill. Then Dayson. And then it was Pinkman third and Mambo Lindy fourth. What the Hill in 151 and 4 in the...
Right, welcome ladies and gentlemen to Talking Trotters. Back for another week. The What the Hill Talking Trotters proudly brought to you by What the Hill and Woodlands Stud. And I've got to say a huge thank you to those guys as well. Big show. Heaps to get through tonight. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you can send your comments in and get involved. We've got plenty to cover off on. We had the Nutrient race series the other day. Got a couple of interviews. Dave Wonson's going to be on at some stage, a pre-recorded interview covering off on all exciting new developments coming on in New South Wales. There's some chance I might have Duncan McPherson, although he doesn't know that just yet. So if he is watching, he might send me a message. He may not. I just want to get an update onto where Aldebaran and Zeus is. But of course, this is Talking Trotters, proudly brought to you by What the Hill, who is standing this season at Woodlands Stud, the winner of 12 races, $1.345 million. Just should be 1.4 or 1.346 at least. $7,000 plus GST for the in New Zealand and $7,700 including GST here in Australia. For more details, go to woodlandstud.co.nz down the bottom and contact the guys there as well. He's had a huge couple of days in Ohio. Well, did I do a butcher of that job? We'll highlight this filly first. Roxana, the 2-year-old filly. She has now won back-to-back at Skoda Downs, $55,000 Ohio size stakes in 157 and 2 the other day. Thank you very much. I'm going to try and credit that Brad Conrad, I think his name is, on Twitter, but I'll try to reach out to him. Hopefully I can get him, but I did pinch that photo. Happily say that as well. John Dutton, another of his sons the other day, took out the second. It was another of the size stakes, $100,000 size stakes heat, in equaling a world record time, winning in 152 and 4 here at Northfield Park. We will quicken this one up just a little bit. Think that's him in front at the minute. I can't remember which number he was. Actually, I've watched quite a few of these. No, that's him getting the third, and he'll drop back in onto the get the trail here in a minute. No, one of the wrong horses. A couple of these horses, I got them all over the shop, but we can just quickly speed it up to down the back, and he is the horse that's 3 back to 4 back to the outside now, I think. No, he's horse in front. That's which horse he was. Sorry. Got a couple of these races going through me noggin, so yeah, he's the actual horse in front here, and he runs away from this. Looks so much like his old man. I showed a few of those videos the other day of his old man, and you can see there he definitely looks like his old man, and all class here. As I said, this equals a world record, 152 and 4, winning the $100,000 size stakes for the Trotters, and yeah, done a huge job for he and his connections, and it's 2 in a row for him. Jet Hill's in this race. That's him in third with the green bridle, and he hangs on to third just in this race here. But yeah, we'll try and get some of the American guys on to talk about some of these horses going forward. Another horse that won while we were like last weekend. This is a horse who's got a great name, Johnny Red's Victory. So that is his entire name. Johnny Red's Victory gets the chockies here. Just got to be able to speed it up a little bit for us. We will get it to coming off the back corner. Might have to go back a little bit just as I remember where he is. That's him in the yellow in the 6 in the 1-1 for the Australians and the New Zealanders. Just peels out here in a minute and lets down very, very nicely to get the chockies. Doesn't look like he's ever going to get there, but yep, look at this. Knuckles down beautifully and hits the line terrific. Right on the line. Had a couple others. We had this horse here, Purple People Eater. This was a 2-year-old filly. These won at Northfield Park. This is a mare called Purple People Eater. Anthony McDonald fans will know Anthony's colours going to the front from the stable C8. That's AMAC going to the front on this horse. And this horse was a short price favourite and actually wins like one as well. Wins running away here. Very, very comfortably, this filly as well. So good a bunch of horses. I think they set very similar times, 59 flat. This one and the next one, another 2-year-old filly, takes out the other heat. These are all of sire stakes, all ran at Ihoyo over the weekend.
At the head of the stretch.
You wouldn't think I could have trouble with a word like that. An O, a H, an I, and an O, but you can. So the leader, it's not the leader, it's a horse at the 4.
From the leader, then Sedona Hill, Hips Like Honey, Isu, Sedona Hill is well situated, second over around the far turn. We'll have the tip 3 wide for McDonald. All About Faith gaps the pocket. There goes Sedona Hill, 3 wide. Hips Like Honey closes in. Then Osaka Hall, less than an eighth of a mile to go. And Kaminari's off the turn in front. Sedona Hill down the center. Tammy Sue not today. It's Kaminari or Sedona Hill. It's Kaminari in deep stretch. Kaminari in front. Sedona Hill was second. Tammy Sue.
Huge job in North America. At the minute, we didn't highlight Jet Hill in that at all. He's actually, I'll find that little tile, I'll get that one up right now. Is that one there? No, it's not. That's the wrong one. That's him winning the TVG. That's not it either. Don't tell me I deleted the wrong photo. No, I don't think. There it is there. Of course, Roxana won 2 of the $55,000 Ohio Fairs trots for 2-year-old fillies, 157.2 the other day. In the USA, right at the minute, he's 9th on the all-age. His oldest are 4-year-olds, 7th on the 3-year-olds, and 5th on the 2-year-olds. Head of horses like Green Shoes, who stands for $25,000 in stakes as well. New Zealand sire of the year. So please, Woodlands and What the Hill, make sure you patronise him. $7,000 in Australia. 7.7 in Australia, $7,000 plus GST in New Zealand. Jeffrey Dixon, hello to you. Wasn't sure if you were going to come on or not, but we won't go there. That's a show. That's a name that's for another show that comes on Wednesday night. So that is On Loose Lines. There was plenty happening. There's been plenty of good winners this week going through. I'm actually going to try and see if we can get Colin Holliway straight away because I think this was one of the stories of the week. Hopefully Colin will answer. He does know I'm going to ring him, so we'll just hopefully we get him. Always fun waiting.
Hello.
Colin, welcome to Talking Trotters. This is Paul Campbell. How are you, mate?
I'm good, Paul. Thanks for the call.
No, thank you for joining me because you've got a fair story to tell. Firstly, though, I am going to just start it off with, I'm going to actually show the video while you and I are discussing.
Went down the back in 20.
Congratulations on winning the Harassed Trotters Nutrient Equine Classic for the 2-year-old fillies the other night with Don't Tell Heather, and we'll get onto the story in that, but what a thrill that must have been, mate.
Yes, certainly. I can see the end of the tunnel as far as my training career goes, of 57, 58 years, and the circumstances involved in getting her, you wouldn't believe, but nevertheless, she's probably going to be my last horse. Because at 58, I'm starting to slow down a bit, Paul.
She'll be your last horse you'll train, Colin?
Probably. We'll see.
Wow. That wasn't one of the things that I was expecting. I'm hoping to see you back at the yearling sales buying horses next year, just to see the outcome of it after the whole story.
Well, that's the problem. That's the problem. You'd be probably reading the death notices if that was the case.
Mate, I will say before we get started, it is a team effort. Your son Brett, he was absolutely chuffed, but also your granddaughter in Demi. She won. I tell you what, she held herself together. She was awesome in the presentations on the night as well. But you must be wrapped with being able to share it there with your family as well as Heather.
Absolutely, and really it gives me a great thrill or a kick for both Heather and I that my son's involved and Demi's involved. She's got a strapper's licence. You've probably noticed, no telling, Heather probably had a few white ribbons in her mane and tail. Well, Demi comes down and she loves doing that, and even one of Brett's young boys is showing a bit of interest. He's talking about he wants a fast horse for pony trots. He's only 6 years old.
He's not eyeing off the filly, is he?
No, it'd be too big for him, although he did lead it in out of the paddock today, and he thought that was good.
It is one of the great things. We don't sell enough about the horses in our industry, isn't it? About how great they are. I mean, you've come out and won a classic race, and then you've got a 6-year-old no telling. I said don't. Sorry about that. You've got a horse that's won a classic race on the Friday night, and your 6-year-old can now walk it and put it away in the paddock.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's one of the great parts. Okay.
Yes.
Now I know the story. But how did you come to purchase this horse, and then the name, and anyone that hasn't heard the story, I'm telling you, make yourself a cup of coffee and sit back, because it will take Colin a little while, because I don't even know if you're still that proud of the whole situation of what happened. But firstly, how did you come to purchase this horse from the Nutrient Equine sales?
Well, we'll start off with that Demi said to me she'd like to go to the sales and see how the horses are sold. So I agreed to take her to the sales, and of course there was one edict, and Heather pointed it out. If you go to the sales, you're not to buy any horses. We've got enough. And I said, well, that's fine. I've got no intention of. So we just jumped in the car, Demi and I, went and drove down. Left the float behind because I had no intention of getting a horse, knowing that the boss has told us not to, and wandered around, got there after the sales had started, wandered around the stalls, had a look at the earlings, then went into the sale auditorium, sat next to my friend Bruce Edward, and Bruce happened to mention, only a couple of minutes after sitting next to him, he said, I'm looking at a video of this trotter coming up, and he says, I like the way it trotted and it's well bred, and he says, I think it would not be an expensive filly because a couple of lots beforehand will go reasonably dearer, and one was that one that Emma Stewart had in the race, and I think it sold for $44,000. So then, for whatever reason, I shot my hand up, and they knocked it down to me. And I thought, oh, geez, what have I done here?
Hang on, just 1 sec. So you only had one bid on this filly?
Yes.
One bid, and you got up.
One bid and got it. And they said, what's your number? And I said, well, I haven't got a number. I've just walked in. And they said, well, you need a number. So Bruce yelled out, put it on my account. So they said, right, Durham Park's account. And then I said to Bruce, well, I'm in a bit of trouble too. I've just come down in the car. I haven't got a float. And he said, well, providing if I don't pass in any and have to bring them home, I will take it home for you. I said, yeah, that's good. So halfway home, Demi decided to ring up Heather and break her the news that we've bought a trotting filly. Well, I'm driving and I could hear her yelling in the phone to Demi sitting next to me. And I thought, oh, geez, this doesn't sound too good. So I get home, goes to open the back door, nearly broke me nose. She'd locked me out. So I'm banging on the door, Heather, let me in, Heather, and I'm yelling out louder and louder, and finally she said, I've suffered enough out there, so she came and unlocked the door and let me in. So that was all very well until I mentioned to Bruce Edward, I said, that filly that you've brought home, Heather's not very happy at all. She's not happy with you and she's not happy with me. What have I done? He said, well, you've put the horse out. Well, so he said to me, look, until things quieten down, he says, we'll keep it out at my place. So after a couple of weeks, he rang up and he says, look, I'm taking a couple to get broken in. He says, we'll throw your filly on too. I said, yes. And I said, well, she's still not happy. And he said, well, look, if it's going to cause a divorce, I'll buy the horse, he said. I'll buy it. And I said, no, we'll persevere. And so got it broken in. He rang up and said, well, it's been broken in. Chris Lang Jr. broke it in and said, broke in a very nice type of horse. Come and see it trot around, which we did do. And Bruce says, how's things on the home front? I said, well, it's still a bit strained. He says, well, we'll keep it out at my place. So he kept it out there for a couple of months and then rung up and said, well, it's got to go back into work. He said, so Jamie Lee King, who's his manager, she'll work it for a couple of weeks and I'll give you a ring. So after a couple of weeks, Heather come around and I went out and jogged it out at Bruce's for probably 3 or 4 days. And I liked it and says, righto, Bruce, we'll bring it back in. So that's the story of how we got No Telling Heather. Yeah. I applied for the name Don't Tell Heather, but surprisingly enough, there is already a horse named that Don't Tell Heather, so the closest we got was No Telling Heather.
Yeah, I apologise for that. I've been one of those calling her Don't. I just got it in my brain. So it's definitely me that's one of the problems with it. But there is quite a couple other things that happen, but it's just great, the story, and I'm sure you're putting a little bit of icing on top, making it.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. That is exactly how the show played out.
Yep.
Except I didn't get a broken nose. I was managing to step back and thump on the door for a while until Heather finally let me in.
What about Heather the other night in the presentation? And you'll back me up for this. When I asked her, she said, I put the snib across. There was no such thing as locking the back door, was it? She said she was trying to make out she wasn't that bad. It was, I put the snib across. It was very delicate the way she put it.
Yes. Yes. Well, she felt a bit guilty afterwards and said, look, when you're not around, which I've never struck it before, by the way, she says, I do snib the back door. And I said, oh, right. Well, I've never struck that before. And it so happens that, it's a genuine thing. The back door was locked and she would not let me in.
Now, you talked there about your good friend Bruce, and the one thing that I loved, and the picture I've got just there with you, I was looking for a photo, and instead I got the presentation photo that someone took from Bendigo the other night, and it's got Pat Driscoll, Louise Toolman, yourself, Demi, Brett, and Heather is there. Unfortunately, Heather is just a little bit off to the side and can't quite see. It meant a lot to so many people that when we were doing the presentation, the fact that Pat Driscoll and Harastus Trotters obviously sponsor the 2-year-olds and the 3-year-olds, all the trotting races. But he was standing there with Bruce, your good mate, and both those guys stood there. Now they stand there and listen to presentations, but they stood there shoulder to shoulder, and it's just a good story, albeit it does have a little funny quirk to it as well. But it's just a good story about mateship and what probably, I suppose, the one part we don't sell enough of our industry, isn't it? About how much, I suppose, you can fun you can have along the way, and when you win a good race, it makes it even better.
Yes, and surprisingly, we have received numerous well wishes ringing up and texting us, which we looked at those people that have said it, and geez, we know them, but we didn't think that they'd take the trouble of wishing us for the win. So no, we're chuffed that so many people have taken the trouble of contacting us.
She's actually a lovely filly. Like, she's had three starts now for a second, a win, a third, a second, and a win. Like, she's a lovely filly. It wasn't a fluke, as I know only 2 trotted all the way. The other 4 actually all did mistakes. But she was knocking on the door. Her run at Kilmore was outstanding. Her run first up as well, Cole, was terrific run. Like, she's just a lovely mare to look at, and the way she trots.
Well, there's another little quirk to it. The mother, Illawong Shimmer, was trained by my best mate Ross Sugars. And
is that the filly? That's not the filly that won the Derby.
No, that's Illawong Helios.
Yep.
This filly won the homegrown Group 1 final as a 2-year-old, won 3 2-year-old races and won a 3-year-old race and just tapered off in form. And Martin Harnett said to Ross, look, I'll breed from her. So she only raced as a 2 and 3-year-old. And when I first, because I'm only a one-man band with one or sometimes 2 horses and working by myself during the week, when I started clicking her up, she wasn't trying that. I could tell she wasn't trying. And Ross says, look, I'll come up. I had another horse here that actually I had bought the previous year off Bruce Edward as a yearling, and we'll run the 2 together. So Ross came up and we got the 2 together in the fast work, and it really switched her on.
Yep.
So I've got a lot to thank for Ross, and then started going a little bit rough, and we was down, I think it was the trial down at Melton. Kylie drove it, might have trialled second, and Ross said, I think she might need some boots on the back. You can't see it, but anyway, Ross went and bought those big scalping boots, that go up to right up the leg, and she started trotting well, and then my other mate, which I've got a lot, haven't I? I went over to his 80th birthday Saturday night, Carl O'Dwyer.
Yep.
Carl said, look, I'll come over and we'll have a go at just altering the shoeing a bit. And Carl came over and just put half rounds on the front and a very light pair on the back, and she has not missed a beat. So I've got a few people to thank: Bruce Edward, Ross Sugars, and Carl O'Dwyer, and she's just progressively improved since that.
Yeah, no, she's a lovely filly. There's a lot more similarities than just that. Anyone wondering? So the horse that she came home, or one of the horses that she came home on the float with, was a filly. Now, this is Talking Trotters. It's meant to be only about Talking Trotters, but that's okay. It's sponsored by Woodlands, so it actually even works out better for me. Was a filly called Sweet Bella that Bruce purchased, unsupervised, is what Jamie Lee King says, and Bruce has a wry grin to his face, but she was purchased at the same sale.
Right.
No, she wasn't. No, she couldn't be, because she's a 3-year-old.
No.
Sorry, I told that's wrong. Sorry, but so he didn't bring her home. But on the same night, so it doesn't matter. There's still 2 more similarities. So Bruce has a winner with Sweet Bella, and she wins that.
Yes.
But it's out of a mare called Illawong Bella, and it was bred by Martin Harnett and Kay.
Yes.
Now, your horse is bred by Alabar, because it's, I think, unfortunately, that Martin Maynong and Alabar took over those horses. But
That's
still got
right.
that same Illawong connotation. So there's plenty going on there. Like, it's a good little story, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
It is indeed. What's plans next for her, Colin?
3 weeks' time is the Vic Bred Super Series
At Maryborough?
So we're so I've just given her a couple of days off. I'll start working her tomorrow, and we'll train her up for the heats at Maryborough on the 4th of September.
And is that sort of the end game, or will you try for maybe? Is she bred?
Well, we'll just see how she goes. She's only had 3 starts, so she's been running around mad in our little paddock today. So she hasn't taken any ill effect from her run Friday night. So our plan is the Vic Bred. After that, maybe we could give her, if she goes well. Now, she's got to perform well. We may very well give her a short let-up fortnight and look at the Breeders' Crown later on in the year.
No, super exciting.
So, they're just long-range plans, pie in the sky. But then, on the other hand, we never thought we'd have won Friday night.
No, well, you would have had a little bit of confidence, surely.
No, I thought if what's them is the priestess, whatever.
Yep.
I thought if it broke, Bruce told me that he'd been out to Clayton's that week, and he wasn't. From his observations, he didn't think Clayton was driving it one morning, and he didn't like the way it was trotting. Now that's Bruce's observation, and so I was thinking, well, it broke in the heat, and maybe it mightn't be that foolproof. So we was hoping that maybe we get second or third.
No, well, I think you've done an awesome job. I think the first up race at Bendigo, I reckon it was a terrific form line. I think there was 5 first starters in that race that finished in the top 5 spots. And I think the filly of Lisa Miles, who ran another place again yesterday, is about the only one that hasn't won out of those horses now. Linkin Bio's now won 2. So
yes.
Nordic Rain, I think, has won another one since. So
it's won 2, yeah.
Yeah,
yes,
so that was a really good field of horses in that race, and I think
she sat in the death all the way that night.
Yeah, it did indeed. Brett, your son, as big a thrill as he's had in racing, would that be as big a win as Brett's had?
Oh, definitely.
Yep.
We had a real good horse years ago, a Vanty.
Yep.
It ran in the 3-year-old sire stake final, the 4-year-old sire stake final, ran third in the 3-year-old final, and ran in the Australian Derby. But Brett was too young then, and Tommy Marr was our driver then, and actually Tommy gave Brett a lot of pointers when he was young in how to and what he thought was best how to drive a horse. So he's probably got a lot of thank for Tommy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You could see he was beaming, and Heather. The one thing, like, she was so happy the other night. She was so. I think initially she was shocked, and then she was just so happy. But I go back to Kilmore in the heat, and although you got beat, the smile on Heather's face then was one of those ones. I always have a camera in my hand, and I didn't have a camera, and it was something. I think this is what trotters do, I think, but it's also what harness horses do, Colin. And the smile on Heather's face after running second, at Kilmore, I think just about says it all. I think she I really enjoyed the story, and probably with the name associated with it makes it makes it all the better. But she's definitely part of the team, and I don't think you'll get in trouble if you bring another trotter home. You might if you bring a pacer home.
No, I think I would. And look, my Brett, because he's got 5 kids, one of them's not the best, and he's does a lot of running around during the week. He can only come in of a weekend, maybe one day or a Saturday or a Sunday, and work a horse. And Demi has also got a strapper's license, so she works Shimmer. Oh, that's no telling Heather's nickname, Shimmer. So Demi works it, and then of course the boss, well, she trains them from the kitchen window, but also she goes over at 7 o'clock of the morning and is the spotter. So she drives the car over, gets the paper, reads the paper, sometimes falls to sleep, and I'm back home for 10 or 15 minutes before she drives in. So a great spotter, I
know. You used to be the president of the Bathurst, Ballarat and District Trotting Club. It's one of those names.
No, definitely never ever been the president. I was secretary and CEO for 30 years.
Sorry. For 30 years.
30 years.
Yeah, so you've been in the game. How long, is it a rude question to ask, how long have you been in the game for, Col?
I started training a horse at 17. I didn't have a car licence, and I borrowed my father's car and borrowed a float and picked this horse up that a friend of mine had, and that started me off when I was 17. So if I'm 75 now, take 17 off that, that's 58 years. Wow, well done. How many trotters in that time? Well, the second horse I got, I leased it off a fella, and once he named it, and once the name came through, I says, well, I may as well finish with it now. He named it Cole's Friend. So I thought, that's the end of that horse.
See what, you've had 2 trotters. Please tell me you've had more. Is that all?
Yes, 2 trotters. My second horse was called Cole's Friend. It was by a horse called, I reckon it was by Trotters Pride or something like that.
Yep.
And never couldn't run out of sight in the fog. And this No Telling Heather.
Wow. So they've both been named after you. There's too many similarities in this. It's getting spooky. That's for sure. So,
yeah.
Demi did the pony. Actually, did she ever do the pony trots?
No.
She did the pony club.
Well, she did the Borough Pony Club.
Yep.
She went to. There was an open day just north of Bendigo. What's
Elmore?
the name?
Elmore. Yep.
She went up there. We had a little pony. We still got it, Reuben. As a first try, the first time they put her around the bend and trotted up the straight and still finished 100 yards last. And I think it might have been the second try, they moved her up 50 metres. And then finally, the last try, I know one of Glenn Douglas's kids, or Daryl Douglas's, started over the back straight, and they put us halfway up the front straight. And bugger me dead, Glenn's horse got up and beat us. So that's how fast this little trotter was. It was called Reuben. It's a little grey. Actually, Ross Sugar's got it for us. And that was Demi was a bit demoralised that happening, so she never bothered about pony trots after that. Had one go.
Are we a chance of getting her as a driver on the track?
Doubt it. No, doubt it.
She will be.
She loves. She'll come over and work a horse with me of a weekend if Brett's unavailable. She loves decorating the horse up with ribbons in her mane and tail. So I think, and she likes obviously going to the trots with us and leading the horse around. But don't think she hasn't shown enough interest.
No, very good. Well,
to drive.
She loved the other night. I think it was a great story. You're great mates. We've got the Pangrazios watching, both Louise and Neville. They watch in different ends of the house. I found this out the other night. They had a great night the other night with Prince of Rock as well, Colin. But Rossi Sugars is on there and watching. And also Anthony Woodroth sends his regards. That's exactly all he says is regards. So I'm presuming you know who that is, Colin?
Oh, yes.
Yep.
He's Anthony. Yep.
Yeah. So, I think it's one of the great stories, Cole. I think well done. The name makes it a little bit of fun, but I think the mateship is what I like the most of it. It's a good story, and I think what I was able to see. I suppose after that race is as much what I love about this sport. And people say if you could bottle the euphoria, you'd sell it to thousands. I think if there was more people there the other night, and unfortunately it was the second last race, but if there was more people there to have watched what we saw, it was just a brilliant night. So, doing that, apparently. This wouldn't happen in your house, Louise. In your house, Colin. Louise has just said there that she's doing the dishes and cooking tea, and she's got no idea where Neville is. That wouldn't happen in your house, would it?
No, well, I cook the meat and I help Heather with the dishes, so no, it wouldn't happen.
All right, mate. Thank you so much. Congratulations
Thanks,
on the win, and it's a great story. And thank you for sharing it with my friends on Facebook and YouTube. I really do appreciate it. It's a good story. It's what the industry is about, mate, and so I really do appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul.
Very good.
See ya. Cut up.
Colin Holliway there in what was a really good story the other day. I don't know where it's my fault for the don't, but it's No Telling Heather, and just a great little story, and a filly that's going to win more and more races. She's a real little professional horse, it is a great story, Jeff. You're spot on. It's it's a little bit of fun and going there. Demi Candy, what an interview. Is it me or Pa that was the best part of it? I reckon you better say Pa or you'll be in trouble, Dem. Yeah, well done to you, and don't leave the industry, Dem. We need to keep you in there because you've got personality and persona, and yeah, it was awesome. So thank you very much for that. While we've got the Pangrazios on there, I got plenty to cover off on, and I will get to Dave Wonson's. I want everyone to be able to listen to that with some huge initiatives coming up for New South Wales. But Prince of
in second
Rock,
spot, the Locomotive Basilica is
the other day. It was just spine tingling this race. It was just great to watch. I've done an interview with Tina Rittis. Daryl Crone has been interviewed by a few people, but this win was brilliant. It just sets up a mean speed, like lead time of 38.2. Tina just drove him to get to the front off the Locomotive, 30.8, 29.9, 28.6. And then they get home in 29 flat for a 157 and 1 mile rate. And he's just a ripping horse. He's a cool dude, ripping horse. No flash, no fanfare, just keeps getting the job done. And it was, again, great scenes. It was a terrific night, full stop. And anyone tuning into On Loose Lines on Wednesday night, I will be showcasing most of that as well, because it was just a great night of harness racing. Horses like No Telling Heather, Prince of Rock, Tradie Lady.
There, Belnice runs on, struggling with Vichy Bloom. Rapid returns deep around Azara. 29.5 was the quarter down the back, and surging to the top here was Tradie Lady from She's Ruby Roo. Belnice is broken under pressure there. She jumped off stride, getting into second spot. Sister Everest is trying to cling on for third, then Rapid return, but Tradie Lady's away and gone, trotting like a machine tonight, and she's racing right away. Tradie Lady's going to get the job done. She comes on to win the 3-year-old trotting fillies final of the Nutrient Equine Classic by 15. Second, She's Ruby Roo. Third, going to Sister Everesta. Fourth was Rapid Return. Then came Azara, followed by Dutch.
That horse there, after she won the other night, they're the tradies that helped build the place, and they took out a share in a horse, and they're having a hell of a time. The only problem they had the other night was the 6:30. Most of them were still working, so they couldn't get there being a work night, but they don't miss too many races, that's for sure. Sister Everesta was a good run. Jared Maloney, I was talking to Jared a bit earlier on, he had the other winner, but Charlotte Galleon, so he actually bred Sister Everesta. And then he had a share in the winner of the last. I said there before that No Telling Heather was the last, but Voltino, the Love You filly for the Fitzpatrick.
6 metres away, tapped up at the tail.
He's a cool dude.
29.8 the back straight quarter. And on the home turn, it's Valtino leading. Ewing on the outside, running a bold race on debut. The inside, Elderbaron Marcus about to get his chance on the sprint lane. Velthorens and Billy Zippin into the straight. Valtino led. Ewing on the outsiders, running a bold race, the Hall of Famer. It's Valtino, Ewing the outside. Valtino's got something in the locker though, and Valtino is going to lead all of the way. Beats the debutant Ewing, and 10 away third Valthorens. A good run after the bad score up.
Bill was terrific, and then Valthorens, another horse. It was another good run in what was a great night of racing. The 4 finals for the trots were terrific races to watch. That race was possibly the only one that I suppose went to script, if you like, Valtino. But yeah, the 4 heats, the Harasser Trotters races were terrific. 62,500 for the 2-year-olds and 125,000. Richest single-sex races for trotters in Australia, and it was just great to be there, great to be a part of it, and it was a thrilling night. There was plenty of other races on the night, and we'll touch on those on the On Loose Lines. Plus, we'll have a bit more fun. We'll definitely be still talking about the trotters and get some of the people's highlights. But please, if you are on and you want to talk trotters and want to be able to highlight any of those wins, please do so. There's no hassles there. Peter McMullen, I'm not sure if you caught up with this before we go to David Wonson. Peter McMullen, of course, he won the first race in the World Drivers' Championships, and congratulations to Pete. Now, I'm going to show you this race. So I found, actually no, I won't. Here's, yeah, I will. I'll show you this race. I won't show it in its entirety. Colin Holliway is on there now watching as well. I'm not going to show you this race in its entirety, but there's Pete on the fence. There's one footage here, though, that I definitely want you to see. It's just breathtaking. Something for the guys at Creative Technology to be able to see. And they've got a car, basically, that runs on the infield. It would be a little bit tricky, but drone footage and the rest is outstanding. Have a look at that for footage. It's just brilliant to watch the close-up, and you can see you can nearly touch them. That's that close. So yeah, and they do that both times down the back straight, so it's awesome to watch. The commentator is, I think, predominantly German. I don't have the commentating up on that, but it is predominantly German. But this is the last roughly 400. We'll skip through it a bit forward, but Pete wins pretty comfortably. I don't even know the name of this horse, but it is predominantly, and it's just great footage. Look at that, it's still around that home turn, and here you go now, and you can see how comfortably he does win this one. But it's a good win. But the commentating, as I said, you can watch it, and I'll tell you where you can watch it. We'll just let Pete get to the line before I cut him off, but I think it's a huge effort. It's just terrific. Got to celebrate this, Australia. This is, again, we're on a world stage, and he's over there taking on the best going forward. So we need to be able to watch that going forward, going there. Go to standardbredcanada.co. Now, there's a picture of Doug McNair on that banner. So if you go to that picture of Doug, John Doe was his name. That's why you might not have was the name. Might not have known John Doe. Very good, Darren Clayton. Thank you very much for chiming in. But great effort of Queenslander. I'm tipping you'll be very, very happy. But I've been given a couple of sites. So Brad Steele told me this one. So you can go to this WTC 2023 EU, and you can find it there. But my good mate Greg Gangle actually put me onto this one. So go to the Standardbred, and you can see all the race results from there, and the leaderboard. And this is the current leaderboard. So Pete McMullen, we need to celebrate this. He's leading with Doug McNair, and then Jordan Ross from the United States is running fourth. Poor old Blair Orange, the Australian, or the Kiwi, but one that a lot of Aussies will be well and truly aware of, had a couple of DNFs, unfortunately, so a little bit tricky. So the Canadians are doing it really good and really even. This was one of the other tiles that Brad sent me, and I'm not having a go at Brad. This was actually put up on the website so you can understand the official titles. Where it's funny, if you take the screenshot later on, if you get to this and pause it and have a look, some of them are in Roman numerals and some of them are in numbers. And it's very odd. So I'd say there might be 2 or 3 people that are actually marking it, but you can see down here Blair ran fourth in the first heat, last or 10th, so that's a 10 in the second one, another 4th, so he was going okay, and then he got it disqualified, then he ran a 2nd, so he's on 27 points, but he's just had a little bit of everything going forward. Now Darren Clayton's put through another one. There you can see that on the feed as well. So that's the YouTube page. So that is Victoria Park. This site is for last night's track only. Okay, yeah. So I think the Canadians, if you want to go to the Alison Barbie, hello to you. The that site I said there before, to keep up to date and watch all the races. I think I think you've got to be able to watch it and keep an eye on it. Go to standardbredcanada.ca and then click on there. As I said, there's a picture of Doug McNair on that, and you'll find it. If not, I'm sure you'll be able to find it a little bit easier, but that's actually how I found it, was just to see the banner of him. I was pointed in that direction, I will be honest, and be able to keep up with him. But I think it's great, and be able to watch the races, because this is the big time. Let's celebrate it. Let's get it out there in the mainstream press. I think we've been a bit quiet over here. There was a couple of photos put up, but we need to really celebrate it and get it out. I might even try and get in touch with Pete. Might even try and get on touch with him before On Loose Lines on Wednesday night and be able to get him on the show, either live or recorded going forward. Jeffrey Dixon, I noticed there their times were not far off the times you showed for those USA races. I think the tracks over there, Jeff, are unbelievable. They do, I don't know necessarily in Germany or wherever those races were the other night, sometimes they do kilometre rates, sometimes they do mile rates. So that does throw a spanner in the works when they do those sorts of things, I must say. So that does make it a little bit trickier. But yeah, this is talking Trotters for What the Hill, who is standing at Woodlands Stud. So get in touch with the guys at Woodlands Stud. Right, New South Wales. The guys in Queensland, and that I love what everyone is doing, and I want to be able to get this message out there. And there was a bit of a mix-up with phone numbers, and now I can't find his interview. There it is there. Caught up with David Wonson earlier on today. I actually did an interview about the Singo. That was afterwards. This was a chat we had. This is purely on the Trotters. So anyone on there with the Trotters and want to know what's going on in regards to the trotting carousel and also the Arizona Blue for the 2-year-old Trotters, please join in, tune in to this, Alex Hurley and .G. I love What the Hill too. We got one on the way. Won't be far off actually. But tune into this in regards to New South Wales. Grant Forrest is on there. This is in conjunction with the Trotters Association of New South Wales. So pretty important updates and news. And it's not the last of what's going to be happening in New South Wales. And it's terrific for the trotter and the rise of the square gating gate. David Wonson joins me now, the General Manager of Racing at Club Menangle. Firstly, David, welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be on the show.
It's good to have you, and I might call you Wano for the rest of the show if that's okay, because David doesn't quite roll off the tugboat, but that's that's okay.
Sounds good.
I wanted to catch up with you. Last week I was made aware, or a couple of weeks ago I was made aware of a couple of new trotting races you guys have got going on there at Club Menangle, which is one super exciting. It seems to be, before we touch on the two races, there seems to be a fair push from Club Menangle, if you like, to get the trotter back up and going, a lot more predominantly, if you like, in New South Wales.
Yeah, look, the club's always been very supportive of the trotters, run a lot of feature races, a lot of series here, but it's actually gone up just a notch now. The numbers are building. The breeding's really good at the moment. There's a lot of numbers in our breeding areas. Cobbity with harassed the trotters. I think they bred over 100. They had 180 or something servings last year. So it's really positive. The numbers that are coming out of here. It's always been in a position to grow. It's doing that now. So we're just adding to that and looking after those up and coming trotters as well, which we're going to talk about these couple of feature races that are coming up very shortly.
Is it the reason they're growing? I mean, you guys put on races every Tuesday. You have 2 trot races minimum. I would imagine it's probably field dependent. And on your Saturday night meetings, 90% of the time there's a free-for-all trot at the very least. The reason it's building is because of the industry participants want it. Is that the reason? What's driving it?
Look, and what I've mentioned to a lot of them as well, 25% of our races on a Tuesday. That's 20,000 are for trotters.
Yeah.
I've mentioned to trainers for a long time, you need a trotter in the barn. Also, there's a $20,000 race programmed each Saturday. Now, there's been once or twice where that hasn't gone ahead, but sometimes, numbers are the numbers and people are out, turn horses out. There's been, for whatever reason. But the numbers are there. And basically, there's $40,000 a week guaranteed to run at Menangle with a trotter. That's from your basic, your 0 and 1 win trotters, right through to your free-for-all trotters.
Yep.
So, while ever the numbers are there, that can also grow. There's been plenty of times where we've had 3 or 4 trots conducted here on a Tuesday, especially during foundation time, because the numbers have been really good. Now, that of course, with 2 and 3-year-old trotters, sometimes they need a little bit more time. So, numbers can be really good at the start of the series. They sort of diminish as the series go on for whatever reason, but the horses are there. That's what's really positive.
Yep.
And more trainers are starting to get involved because it's business.
Yep.
It's good business for them.
Yeah, no, it definitely is good business. It's a bit of a no-brainer in a way. Sort of not being Victoria versus New South Wales. It's a little bit where Victoria was probably 5-6 years ago, where a lot of trainers all of a sudden started waking up and saying, "I'm taking 3 or 4 paces to the track." I should be taking at least one trotter. And then it's a bit of a snowball effect now that you've got stables like Andy Gaff, who have, high class, fast class.
Yeah.
But they have the equivalent of trotters, which is just what you want.
Well, look, you've only got to look at Robbie Morris and Blake Fitzpatrick and that. They're always up, definitely on the midweek premiership tables. They're always at the top. And that's because their stable's full of trotters.
Yep. Yeah, of course, Fitzpatrick's won the Nutrient Classic on Saturday night, which was a good field. Yep. Lovely horse. You guys are going to... there's a race here for him. He's going to be...
We've got races here for him as well.
Yeah, we definitely have. Right, a couple of the races we want to highlight, because I could talk to you all day, which is one of my shortcomings, but anyway, that's okay. Right, the Carousel. So the Trotters Carousel is going to be an up to 75 rated race. With heats on September 12 up to $10,000 and a final of $25,000 on September 23, which is going to complement the carousel meeting as well. Firstly, one of the things I wanted to ask you, in your release I saw that on the Club Menangle site, and I encourage people to hit like and follow that site to keep up with everything. The reintroduction, can we just discuss the reintroduction of it? Obviously there was a Trotters Carousel many years ago, was there?
There was. When I first started at Harold Park, John Dumacy was a massive supporter of the Trotters in New South Wales. And we got them going again at Harold Park. They were really strong. We tried the Carousel series, and we tried it throughout a couple of heats throughout the provincial area, as the Carousel was back then. A couple of those tracks aren't around now. But for whatever reason, it just lost a little bit of traction. And then it was sort of forgotten. So this is something I've been thinking about for a while, and with the Carousel being such a sought-after trophy in the pacing division, why can't there be one for trotters? We've got a great pool of horses in that region now, and I'd love a couple of Victorians to come up, very much like the Tontine series was massive in the Victorian area. This was just something for that next step. So on our Tuesdays, like we have the lower class, and then we go straight to fast class on the Saturday. Sometimes those horses that are making that transition, it's hard to find a place for them. So this was something I thought of that will give them that transition, going from progressing and winning their way out of the Tuesdays just before they make that step into the free-for-all grade on a Saturday. This is a nice series for them to look at. And with the tag of the Carousel, it works in great with the Pacers series. $25,000 final can't be sneezed at. The Pacers final is worth $50,000, so it should be a great night here on Saturday, 23rd of September, where we're going to rally around both the Pacers and Trotters.
This is a trotting show. Just throw you under the bus. What class is the Carousel for the Pacers? You say about getting people from Victoria.
They're both 75. They're both 75.
Right, up and coming
national
horses.
Rating. Yeah, national rating 75. No concessions.
Right, no junior concessions, no mare concessions.
No juniors, no mares concessions, just up to 75, and that's both series. And
the Trotters is exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
Yeah, right. Well, that's huge, and I love the fact that you guys want to get people to come there and get involved. You said before about Victoria, the way Queenslanders are going as well. We need them to come down, because they'll just make it. This is a beauty of Menangle and where you guys are situated across the eastern seaboard, if you like. It could be a ripping series with some real intrigue, betting turnover, because all of a sudden you might have three states taking on each other. It's just what we want.
Oh, it'll be fantastic. And I know our guys aren't afraid to travel. You'll see the options. As I said, Robbie, they're definitely not afraid to go up to Queensland and try and take some of their money. We just seen Brad Hewitt won the big race over the Winter Carnival with Majestic Trio.
Yep.
So they're definitely not afraid. You just mentioned before, Blake went down and took a big hunk of Nutrients money out of the Trotton series. So our guys here in New South Wales definitely aren't afraid to travel. So I'd like to see the Queenslanders and the Victorians come up here and have a slash for some of our money.
No, absolutely. And some of the trotting trainers down here, the likes of Wayne Potters and those guys, never been scared to come up there. I think the Locomotive might nearly sneak under that 75 rater. You never know.
And he might.
You might be able to get him up there. Andy Gaff. They've always got these horses. They're enjoying the travelling, and a few of those guys are going to be making a few more trips to Menangle, especially through that September period. So there's every chance you can get more and more of those. You're also embracing the 2-year-olds, with the Arizona Blue. I'll put the tile up. So this is for 2-year-old trotters. 3 heats through the November-December series time slot with a $25,000 final on the 16th of December. probably, I suppose, a couple of little things. The 3 heats, have you finalised the dates for those?
Yeah. So this is just a continuation of the Foundation Series we run in April, May and June. What we found is with the change of racing season now that it goes right through to the end of the year, Foundation Series are always based around the end of the season or towards the end of the season. What's happened now is that we go through that middle part of the year because even though the racing season's changed, the horses' age actually hasn't changed. They're still 2.5 when they're competing in that. They're actually on their birth certificates during this series. Well, they'll be 3.
Yep.
But they're racing as a 2-year-old. So there was a big gap until that next series come along. This is a lot of discussion we have with the local trainers as well. Once again, that there's a bit of a void there.
Yep.
So what the club decided to do, and we're going to incorporate another club into this rotation of heats, on November 14, it's just open to all 2-year-old trotters. It's along the lines of the Foundation Series. There'll be 3 rounds of heats. They'll all be $10,000 with a $25,000 final here on Saturday, the 16th of December. So the first heat's here at Menangle on Tuesday, November 14. Goulburn have been a good supporter of the Trotters as well. They always have a trotting race program. There's like we just mentioned, Brad Hewitt, but you've got Grant Forrest and got a lot of trotters down in that region. They always program a Trotters race. They can have a heat on Monday, November 27. And then the final heat will be here on Tuesday, December 5. You must compete in a heat to be eligible for the final, though.
Yep, awesome. Open to 2-year-olds?
Just all 2-year-old trotters.
All,
yep. Doesn't matter where you're born. Just be 2.
And doesn't matter how many races you won?
No.
Wow. Good timing. Good programming. I like it.
Yeah, and that'll be a next step into the 3-year-old Foundation Series that kick off again here in March. So the 2-year-olds now, where they've only had that one chance to compete for some good money here, they've actually got 2 chances throughout the year. So the horse wasn't quite ready for that April, May, June series. Well, get them back into work because there's another series there in November, December for you.
That Goulburn race will throw a lot of intrigue for Victorians, albeit only about an hour and a half less. But it doesn't make it that daunting a trip up the Hume to get to
it's a good drive.
So yeah,
that's a good drive. I went down to Victoria recently, and what a good drive.
It is. It is. Even Menangle, I don't think it's as scary. You talk to the likes of Dave Miles. I know Andy Gaff stops halfway. Some trainers go straight through. I think Nathan Jack, Wayne Potter, they win races. They continually just go straight through and straight back. So yeah, it's very easy. I think it's super exciting. The name, Wano, where does that come from?
Arizona Blue. That was just the Trotters Association. Michael Taylor's the president there. It was just a name that resonated with him. It was a great trotter that we had. It was a very good young trotter.
Yep.
Won a lot of 2- and 3-year-old races. Johnny Heath, Lizzie Heath team. It was just a name that really resonated with Michael, and he put it to the association. They were happy to go with it just to give it a title.
Yep.
Because we have our Foundation Series, and what it was put up as the Foundation Spring Summer Series, but they just wanted to put a title to it. A nice local horse that won a lot of 2- and 3-year-old races, got a nice ring to it, Arizona Blue. So the Arizona Blue 2-year-old series here at Menangle.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's great, and terrific prize money on offer there as well. You're sort of spreading it across. You're not making the final that much dearer, because it means then you entice horses to come to the heats, which I would imagine is what you're trying to do with both race series, is there to make sure you get enough horses to the heats to warrant it, because we need betting turnover to pay for these races. So I think that part's awesome, and I love the fact you're going back to the regional tracks. I would imagine potentially the carousel, that's something you might be thinking about down the track.
Absolutely, we are.
Eventually.
And we've spoken about that.
Yeah,
yeah,
which is awesome. Wano, thank you. Love what you guys do with the Trotters. I love Trotting Tuesday. I try to highlight it every week on this show. I highlight the winners there, both yourselves and Albion Park. Although the guys at Albion Park, they're going to get a drive-by this week, because they have they put a pacing race on before the 2 Trotters heats. But generally, you can go in and have your lunch. If you're a trotting purist, you can go in and have your lunch and sit down and watch anywhere from 4 to 6 trotting races on Tuesday, either at Albion Park and Menangle, which is awesome. So I think well done.
No, pretty good.
Wano, thanks for joining me. We are going to have another little chat in a sec, but thanks for joining me on Talking Trotters, mate. I really do appreciate it. I love the feedback, and I also love the fact of what you're doing for the Trotters. It's super exciting, and I'm sure a lot of the trainers down there are so excited as well. It means purchasing horses at sales and going through. They're not only eligible for sales race series, but there's these other races coming up, and it's going to make it for a very, very exciting end of the year, which is what we want.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Thanks for the time, mate.
No, thanks, Wano. Then we have David Wonson, or Wano, as he's more affectionately known, and outlining some terrific incentives coming forward for New South Wales harness racing, New South Wales trotting, and building up a symmetry, if you like, with the carousel, time-honoured carousel. So $75,000 trotting heats for the carousel. Sorry, $25,000 final, $10,000 heats, and then the same with the Arizona Blue. So well done to all involved for getting that, and a huge thank you to David Wonson for getting behind there as well. Clint, hello to you from Blue Stream Pictures. I hope you're well, mate. Haven't seen you for a long time, but hopefully we get to catch up with you too. We've got quite a few people on there and watching. I always just get a little bit careful going to this page. I am hopefully going to get, it should click over in a sec because it's not the page. Yep, did. Thank you. It's a little bit of a trap, this program that I use for this. You would have seen down there in the comments, and if you didn't, doesn't want to go half a screen. Look at that. Right, we'll just leave it where it is. I'm sorry, cannot get that where I want it to be, but that's fine. With Brad Steele's commenting there that there's two. We've got Bernie Ring on too. Bernie, I'm going to see the great man tomorrow. Ashley Herbertson, of course. Two $50,000 trot races at the Creek this week. Brett Coffey's on there. Only 8 hours up to Hume. Yeah, exactly. It's actually even getting easier than that now too, Jeff. And Goulburn for those 2-year-olds. Could also be something. No, that made it worse. Just can't quite get the full picture right. Now we can, because I think. Yep. Okay. Right. So they're all in there. So two $50,000 trot races. Someone might be able to tell me why one's valued at 51,000 and one's at 50, but that's okay. 3-year-old trotting finals, and for the 2-year-old trotters as well. So well done to Racing Queensland and the Creek for getting behind these. Chantal Turpin's got 2 in that. Kenneth Terrio, and we will see how we go. Dexter, of course, by my high expectation, who is doing a terrific job in the barn there, because he is also, so that horse has won 3 on the trot. And Gate with Grace. Pretty sure these two are half brother and sister. I know who Gate with Grace is out of. So, no. Oh, yes, they are. Nora Jones. Yep, Nora Jones. So they're both half. They're full brother and sister. So that'd be quite a story if Dexter and Gate with Grace. And it could definitely happen. I'm sure Darren Clayton and that would probably have a better opinion than that than me. But they both trot very, very good. Darren McCall. I'm going to mention Darren in a minute. He got a winner during the week, and he's a great supporter of Campbell's comments as well. So, got a few things going on over there as well. So, no, good, exciting racing. There's actually not a lot to look forward to in Victoria. The one that snuck up on me, and I don't know how many people, we might just go back to this show here just for a sec, are aware, but the home field is on, not this weekend, the one after, which traditionally it's a lead up. I always thought it was a bit of a lead up to the Derby, but the Derby's not for another 2 months. So, albeit being a shorter distance race, it's a $30,000 Caduceus Club home field Group 3 event. And yeah, it's in Saturday the 26th of August. So if you've got a 3-year-old trotter, make sure you're aware of that. And then the weekend after for the Victorian horses are the Vicbreds for the trotters. That's at Maryborough on September 4th. That's a Monday, the 4th of September, with all your Vicbreds in the one location. So actually that's a lie, because there's no 4-year-olds. So that is just the 3-year-old colts and geldings and the fillies, and the 2-year-old trotting colts and the fillies as well. wonder where the older horses are racing. Trying to see, they might be at Geelong. Don't know. Nope, they're not at Geelong. Don't know where they are. Have to have a look. I have got one of those. Won't be going to Echuca, I wouldn't have thought. Maybe Cranbourne the day before on the Sunday. Nope. So I'm not sure exactly. Echuca, Hamilton, Bendigo. Would they be at Bendigo 3 days afterwards? There they are there. Okay, so the 4-year-olds are at Bendigo on the 7th of September, Thursday the 7th of September. So on a pretty big trotting meeting, actually, that one. There's quite a few trot races on there. So look forward to seeing that. Duncan McPherson, hello to you. Hang on. When you're ready. When you're gonna hit me with flattery, you just got to wait till I've got the volume up. You can start that again. I like flattery, but I just didn't have you turned up. That was the only problem.
I'll give you some flattery. Don't you worry about that.
Mate, we're talking trotters, and we've got there's heaps of stuff. I've got through quite a fair bit of it. You hit the wrong computer screen.
So just talk to me when you want me to.
No, we're live now. I've got something. I've got things going everywhere. I've just hit the wrong buttons. Right, we're back. We're live. I've just got
G'day, how are you, Paul? Pleased to talk to you.
I got to slow down. You were on before. It just you flustered me. I just unfortunately I hit the wrong button. So hopefully people are still.
I love getting you flustered. Paul doesn't take much, mate. It's like galloping off the 40-metre back mark. You've got to get used to it.
Right. Okay. I love you. That's all good. Right. We got a lot to cover off on. Firstly, to start us off with, an update on Zeus. I did see you put an update yourself just the other day on him. Where is he at, and how is he progressing?
So Zeus is day 4 at Nifty Norman's over in New Jersey. Brad Chisholm's done a wonderful job. So we got him out of quarantine. Wind the clock back a little bit. He left Australia. We got him to quarantine in Chicago. Paul Miles flew over and spent the first 4 days with him. We walked him morning and evenings, and then the IRT crew in Chicago picked up from there. He then went on a truck overnight down to New Jersey and arrived, and Brad Chisholm more or less took ownership of him, which has been absolutely fantastic. Him and Brent Lilly have been communicating constantly about how the horse and the welfare, and so far so good. He had a walk on Thursday. He had a little jiggy jog on Friday, a little bit more jiggy jogging on the weekend, and today's Monday in Australia, so it's Sunday night over there, and Brent's flying over on Wednesday. So it's pretty warm, which is okay. He's winning and neighing, as his stallion would, but he's been very well behaved and hasn't missed a beat. And the reports from IRT and from Paul Miles and everyone's dealt with him. He's a gentleman, and he's calm, and he's ready to rumble.
One of the big things with him, Dunk, he had a beautiful coat. So, albeit he has come out of our winter into their summer, he didn't have a long coat. He had a stallion's coat, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, credit to Brent and Tracy and the team up at Lilly Racing Stables here. I mean, as Brent said when we put him on the plane, we went out to IRT at Tullamarine Airport, and I don't know if people haven't been there, it is an experience in itself. To watch them get loaded onto crates and deal with the people that load horses day in, day out, with 3,500 horses a year coming in and out of the facility. Their commentary around the presentation of the horse before he flew was they were blown away, and to think that he was a stallion they were more blown away. And then the demeanour of him when he was getting loaded into his crate to go was nothing short of incredible. And his coat was magnificent, and his coat was reflective in what we posted only in the last 2 or 3 hours, which was having a walk around Nifty's over in New Jersey. His coat is still there. And so, as Brent said, and I won't steal Brent's thunder, but he was ready to race the day after he left. And that's what Brent's expertise and his training skills have prepared the horse. So I have no doubt that horse was ready to go as soon as he got on that plane. And all Brent's got to do, in inverted commas, and it's easy for me to say, is just get him ready to go again. And he's done it before, and I'm sure Brent will do it again. And his experience with Maori time will put him in good stead, I would suggest.
No, absolutely, and we must highlight that workout. Captain Ravishing went to Melton later the same night, over a mile, had a pacemaker, and went 156. The workout that Chris did, everyone can watch it. You can see it. You can see from the driver's view. 156 over the 2200 on his own. Like, he was dead set ready to rumble as soon as he left here, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, as I've said, I think credit to Brent and Tracy and the team at the stables. I mean, he was literally ready to go. If he went to the Hammerhead as he did, and he went to New Zealand when we went to Cambridge as he did, Brent was ready to take him to race at that race in Yonkers, had it been, a couple of 100 yards around the corner, but the horse was ready to go.
Yep.
And when we took him to the workouts, and there was not a lot of people there, as we appreciated, and he had no pacemaker, and we had Chris's helmet live cam, and Chris pulled up, and the horse was a bit keen, but he went 56 on his own, plugs in, hood on. He was ready to go 53.
Yep.
So, and I, not being not biased, as people may think, but if you saw how the horse raced and trialled on his own and did what he did, it was all under his own steam. And there's no doubt the horse, the hope is that Brent can pick him up and carry him to the line, literally. And with the new track, new bike, American technology, cambered corners, 800-metre track, all we need is a draw. And we are reasonably confident that we're in with a shot here. So we'll see how things unravel. We've got a long way to go. First job was to get him there safely. We've done that. So it's just a step-by-step, day-by-day. But if there's one bloke I'd love to be putting the polish on him in America, it's definitely Brent Lilly and the team at Nifty Normans.
Done deal. That's all good to see here, and we won't put a moz on too many. When is the actual race, Dunk? What's the date of the race?
9th of September in America in the evening.
Yep.
Which will end up being between, depending on the race schedule, it'll be on Sunday morning between 10 and 12. I think that there is things happening over in America to ensure that the race is shown live in Australia.
Yep. Because they tend to, like yesterday, I was actually watching Northfield Park and watching a few pacing races, and unfortunately the race that John Dutton won, and there was another trot race afterwards. Unfortunately, they didn't get shown. So as long as they're so that's a bit of a frustration. I think 12 race cards. They just cut it off at race number 12 for some reason. Sky, I don't know why they do that.
I can assure you and your audience, there's definitely a move afoot with international connections to ensure that this race is beamed into Australia. I'm glad we're not competing against the Matildas, because there's 4.7 million watching them. If we get a couple of thousand watching Zeus, we'll be more than happy.
Michael Houses, I knew you've had... have you ever been to his... no, we won't even go there because it's a different show. This is where we just talk Trotters. He was a little bit worried about Tank not making the trip, being cheeky, unlike Michael, that's for sure. Jeff Dixon asks a serious question. In a way, if successful over there, is there a chance you would leave Zeus there to breed him to a few of their mares over there? You've always had the stadium on the radar with him, so is that an option?
To be honest, and we haven't had a lot of chats about it, and I respect Brent as a trainer. I'm just the owner at the end of the line, but ultimately, if the horse performs admirably, then we may leave him there. It's the number of flights coming back out of the US are a bit scarce. There's a flight about 3 weeks after the race, and the next one's not till late October, early November. So at this point, we're thinking that we'll leave him there, all things being equal, see how he goes, and there's a lot of discussion to happen, but there's a possibility he may stay. The Breeders' Crown is in the end of October, and then there's races obviously in between the MGM and the Breeders' Crown. So depending on how he goes and how things pan out, and if he's competitive, then we'll do similar things that Greg Sugars and the Just Believe team, leave him up there and give him the opportunity.
Yep.
Ultimately, let's just say he goes really well. Let's just say he's more than competitive, and let's just say that we might go to Europe So there's every opportunity, and we live to dream. And so he can stay in America, he can potentially get invited to Europe, or he comes home. So to serve in America, as far as stallions go, they prefer 3-year-olds. So we're a bit behind the 8 ball. We're a 5-year-old, and there are others probably in the pecking order before us. So we think his potential maybe in the Southern Hemisphere, but then if we go to Europe, we don't know where he might end up. So obviously time will tell, and his performances on the racetrack will endear him to that outcome. But he's won in Australia, he's won in New Zealand, he's the fastest stallion in Australasian history, and hopefully the dream keeps going, and we can strike some success in the US, and then we'll just take it step by step after that.
Just got to remind you, I do have a passport, and more than happy to travel. You know that, so don't you worry about that. Alex Hurley can confirm that the trainer has purchased new trackies for the trip, and then a laughing face. I think Curls might be being a bit cheeky, but that's okay. We don't say no to that. And Brad Steele, IRT, do an amazing job. I can say right now the little brother's actually on an IRT flight right as we speak. So absolutely. No,
I mean, I need to commend IRT too. I mean, what they did for the horse, Selwyn Wallace and all the boys at IRT, they met us out there when we loaded him. They gave us updated daily reports from Chicago when he got there. I can't thank IRT enough, and hence why when we do our jackets and our hats and our tops and our rug that will go hopefully over with Brent, we will recognise the support that we've been provided, and IRT. I've flown with them a lot, bringing horses down from Europe, and they've really looked after us extremely well, and their attention to detail is just phenomenal. So it would be remiss not to thank Selwyn and all the team at IA.
Jared Maloney says, Zeus hot to trot, and what a dream to be living. Good luck, Duncan. So, and of course, I can say the stallion tender hasn't been finalised for the guys at Swan Hill. Jared is on there. He actually didn't have a bad week either, Dunk. I don't know if you're aware of it, but we'll get to that in a sec. September 8th, the stallion tender for Swan Hill will be out, but keep in touch with Campbell's comments. That will be out very, very shortly. Just got to finalise a couple of others. I don't know if you know that he owns Voltina, the horse that won the Nutrien. The race of Trotters, Nutrien Classic for the 2-year-old Trotters the other day, Dunk. Oh, hang on, Dunk. You've dropped out. Hang on. Sorry, Dunk. You there now?
You there?
Yes, sorry about that.
Not much trotting-wise gets past me, and Jared's been a long-time supporter of the trotting gate, as you well know. And, no, we did see that. And, I think we've been at Elderbaron Park, I think, has been with Swan Hill since they started the stallion tenders, so more than happy to assist again in 2023.
No, the return they get, Woodlands, Northern Rivers, yourself, that means they run a good club. Alabar, I'll be in trouble because Brett was on earlier too. So.
Yeah, no, Brett's fine. No, everyone's contributing to the successful outcome of the trotting gate in the Southern Hemisphere, there's no doubt.
Michael House says here, good luck, Duncan. We are all only limited by our imagination. Seaman travels good in little tanks, live the dream and race. Michael House. It actually got hidden because of the word seaman, so I've unhidden it. Facebook. Right. Poor old Brad Steele put one up the other day, Tim Butt, and Facebook hid that because of the butt, so don't worry, it gets hidden a lot. And Brent Thompson, good luck, Duncan. I'll be watching. You're not the only one, Brent, so heaps of us. And the fact that you potentially might end up going to Europe, Dunk, it just really creates a whole lot more, of what we're going to be watching. But anyway, right. The Peter McMullen and the World Driving Championships on at the minute. And what an amazing effort by Pete taking out the first heat. He is known as leader Peter. He happened to lead in it, but he looked the part. He didn't look out of place there the way he leans back in the cart, that's for sure.
But, I mean, how well are we going? I mean, Pete's up doing the World Driving Championships. We've got Southern Hemispherical representation. Just believe people are still talking about him in Europe. I'm continually getting messages about how he's going, where's he at. And then we've got Zeus, and then, of course, credit to Chris Lang. He produced Olivici the other night, and he's always touted Olivici as a world-class horse, and he went out and won first up. So it just goes to show that genetically we've got every opportunity down here, not only with our people at the World Driving Championships, but also the quality of the horses that we're producing. And it's just exciting times. And to think that you've got Just Believe and Olivici and all these horses back, coming back for the big races back at the back end of the year. I just don't think Southern Hemispherical Trotting's ever been better.
No, I've got a video. I'll put the video up. You talked there before about Olivici. You could nearly... No, that's not it. That's the wrong one. This one here is it. You could nearly be a producer of this show, but just a brilliant return. He was an excitement horse. He possibly just lost his way a little bit towards the end last time in, but just great gate speed. He just cruised out of the gate and just handled a quality field so comfortably first up, didn't he?
Yeah, and I mean, again, there's the genetic coming through, and you've only got to look at the horses that are in the free-for-all open ranks. There's not one stallion dominating. We've got a variety of stallions that are producing horses, and I honestly think this is where the trotting gate, has got a huge advantage. We've got 54 trotting stallions down here, and you go and look at who's winning races, and the number of stallions that are represented on a weekly basis by winners is far more greater than, dare I say, the pacing gate. And so, whilst prize money is under a little bit of pressure in Victoria, as we can appreciate, I think the opportunity still exists for the breeder and or the purchaser of trotters to enjoy the opportunity. There is such a vast range of stallions that are producing results that I think we should be singing it from the rafters, not closing down on what we're thinking at the moment.
And then we've won overall, of course, been out of that one over Kenny family as well. There's just some brilliantly bred horses in that whole race, and even the race before. Now I have got this one, Dunk. I did put this one, and I have got the video. Before I do go there, Ben Hope was a little bit apologetic. I tried to do an interview and I said, mate, you don't apologise. And he still managed to apologise for his drive on Elderbaron Keeper. I think that's one that was going to scar him. He nearly redeemed himself the other night in the Winners' Trotters Cup final. But again, the depth in these horses and the horses that we got going through the classes here, like He's All Muscle was $1.50 favourite. Yep. And there was no real excuses on face value anyway. I mean, it was just terrific. Anyone wondering, Duncan's horse is still third last, going to the outside here with Ben Hope in the blue hat, and absolutely launches up the straight. But there's such high quality horses in these races, isn't there?
Oh, I think this is where it's exciting, and we've only got to look at the recent APG sales races and the nutrient sales races for the juveniles, the 2 and 3 year olds, to actually understand that the future for us in Southern Hemispherical Trotting, the genetics are living on, and we've got everything from 6 and 7 year olds all the way down to the 2 year olds now, and it's exciting times. I mean, Tactical Landing side the winner of the Hambletonian, and Tactical Landing is available in the Southern Hemisphere, and his domain will come, and he's probably the next biggest superstar down here, albeit there was only 6 horses served by him in his first generational crop.
Yep.
And I'll be half smart. Jim Connolly's got 4 and we've got 2. So the world is there if we want to grasp it and take the opportunity. And the yearling sales, whether it's Sky Valley still winning races the other night, and to Tactical Landing at the other end of the stallion service piece, there's an opportunity for everyone in trotting, and the gate just goes from strength to strength.
No, it does indeed, and that's the exciting part about it, and there is so much going on there. Duncan, as a connoisseur of world trotting, where is the best way to watch the World Drivers' Championships? Greg Gangle put me on the Canadian site, so you can definitely get all the replays, and they're full replays. If you go to that one, I got to try and find where I left the website, but the Canadian... Standardbred Canada it is. Yeah. There it is there. No, that's the wrong one. That's this one here. Standardbredcanada.ca, and you've just got to hit on the picture of Doug McNeil, who is leading with Pete McMullen, so they're both tied. But where do you watch it, or where do you get your
I'd be doing what Greg does. I mean, I watch a lot of vision out of some sites over in America. But what Greg's alluded to is available, and I think that's what we should be advocating. So I personally would be following Greg's lead and going to the Canadian website and working it through that way. What I would suggest and hope that Harness Racing Australia and Harness Racing Victoria why they can't publish. They should publish links for the rest of us to go and watch these races, because I'm sure that the public interest in not only watching our drivers represent Southern Hemispherical racing, but to watch the racing style and watch what's going on horse-wise up in the Northern Hemisphere, we'd be cluttered around the screens like the Matildas are at the moment. So why aren't we promoting this through our social media channels, through Harness Racing Victoria, Harness Racing Australia? So,
and it is one of the challenges I have. There is a What the Hill filly that's won 2 in a row called Roxana. You can't find any video footage of it in America. So when there is the opportunity to be able to find it easy, go and get it and watch it. It is one of the frustrations I have from their sites over there. They are a little bit tricky to navigate. But
the site's the one thing that I've always said there should be I'll say it and I'll be a little bit controversial. There should be an Australian appointed person at either Harness Racing Victoria or Harness Racing Australia that continually is scouring feed and feeding it in so that people in the Southern Hemisphere can visually observe what's happening in the Northern Hemisphere, both on and off the track. And the day, if we think we're going to be part of the world scene, we've got to have a dedicated person on a wage. And I know that's controversial in Victoria, and I'm sorry to say it, but I think we need to be engaging globally, because if we want our product to go there and our horses to go there,
that's exactly right.
Then we've got to have the reciprocal right to bring their product and their feed into Australia. 100%. And the sooner we do it, the better.
100% agree. And this show, like, it's not about a lot, but we get a lot of people just want and crave, to talk trotters and to talk harness racing. Even Michael House is worried about my temperature. He thinks I'm sweating, but he's not. I don't understand. He says, must be cold there with question marks. And then he says, that jacket looks like you're sweating. It is actually cold, Michael. So, yeah, it's not... Bendigo can be hot, but it's not overly hot. Neville Pangrazio, Moonshine Linda, what a beautiful, what a ripping mare she was, and also beautifully bred. She's in foal to Tactical Landing. Never missed us a chance, no, Neville. So, yeah, you do realise that right at the minute he's neither doing the washing, the dishes, or cooking tea, because Louise has already reported in as to what she is doing.
Yeah, but that just goes to show that there is evidence again of people in the Southern Hemisphere watching and genetically looking at the best possible improvement that we can achieve down here. And if Linda goes and has 6 or 8 foals, I'm sure Neville will continue to invest. And the benefactors of that are the people that are going to be racing horses down here in 8 to 10 years' time.
Yep.
So, it's just complete genetic improvement. I mean, Wishing Stone's had winners recently.
He's had a lot.
Bastian K's had winners recently. Elder Baron Eagles had winners recently. These are all new genetics, and we're only improving it down here in Australia, and we're giving everyone great variety and opportunity.
Horses like Creatine, Peak, people don't realise, like, you sort of look at them, they're just leaving winners all the time. It's just terrific to actually see. It's one of the things I do enjoy. I'm going to do a recap through all the results in a second. It's one of the things I do enjoy about doing it is you get to see these different bloodlines and what they are actually doing here in Australia, and you get these great crossovers. So it is very, very good. The other thing I was going to say there too, the beauty of this is that you see, we had Colin Holliway on just there before. Purchased a beautiful filly, and he's going to have a lot of fun with it, with no telling. Heather, Prince of Rock, though, unfortunately Louise losing her mum, and the scenes after that horse winning, but with Tina and Daryl Crone, Tina Rittis, of course, and Daryl Crone.
Absolutely.
And then you get Emma Stewart, who's predominantly a pacing person. They win a trotting race. And then Fitzpatrick's and Sugars, don't mean this in a derogatory way, but an old name, if you like, in the industry, still shining through. That's the beauty of the trot. That's just the 4 winners. That's got nothing to do with the rest of the week. That's just the 4 winners that happened.
Correct.
Last week at Friday at Bendigo. So it is a great sport, and there is so many stories to always tell. Dunk.
I mean, as I keep saying, I mean, everyone's doing such a great job down here, and I mean, with all due respect, the prize money will look after itself in due course. What people need to continue to do is invest in their genetics and then live the dream. And if we can do that and continue to focus in the trotting gate and not lose focus, there's service fees, as I said earlier, $2,000 to $16.5 for Tactical Landing or whatever he may be. The opportunity's there for everybody. So, whilst we all think that there's doom and gloom, there's actually a lot of prosperity in our industry. And if you dare to dream, you'll live the dream. And I just encourage everyone to breathe this year. Don't drop the ball. The world's our oyster in the trotting gate. 50+ trotting stallions to choose from. It's like kids in a candy store. So let's go and do it.
Tactical Landing, I stood beside him. This is Michael House. I stood beside him the week he won the Hambo elimination, but sadly got beat by a filly in the final. He was a big 3-year-old. I think he wrote beat, but I reckon he might have meant bet. I bet he would have been a monster on the track if he could have came back and raced at 4 and 5, just saying. And that's Michael. And Michael's a very astute judge of a horse full stop, let alone a trotter, because he did have a great association with a superstar called Sundon that we will. I am heading back to New Zealand shortly, so I will be sitting down with Michael and going in depth. Dunk, thank you very much.
No, it's all good, Paul, and I'd be remiss not to mention Dancing in the Dark, who are now exporting or sending semen to New Zealand this year. If you look back in his pedigree, Game Pride sitting on the 6th dam, Michael House commented on it very early days when I was thinking about bringing the horse down. It's an exciting opportunity to have the 49.3 stallion available in the Southern Hemisphere as a total outcross. And, if we're going to go and support the Harness Breeders Victoria Goulburn Valley Day at Shepparton, and anyone that comes to us at Shepparton who's interested in Dancing in the Dark or anyone wants to contact me over the lead up to the day next Sunday, which is I think the 20th.
The 20th of August, Sunday week. So
if people email me at HRSHBN, horseheaven@elderbaronpark.com. More than happy to offer a 10% discount to anyone that wants to take up that opportunity, whether they're in Australia or New Zealand. We're actually selling some brood mares. They'll be listed shortly that are in foal to Dancing in the Dark. So I encourage people to, if you're looking for a foal to hit the ground by the fastest stallion in the world in recent times, then keep an eye out on social media and also wherever Peter Wharton decides to sell the horses. But we're giving people the opportunity to pick up a genetic out of some of our brood mares at Elderbaron Park that gives them they're in foal, they're ready to go, and within 3 months you could have a Dancing in the Dark foal at foot. So let's see how we go.
Michael House has put Game Pride in all capitals, so that says enough.
Correct.
there. Alexander Hurley said, or Bob Cookenmeister and Darryl Prosser combining to win with Dicko Dixon. Great stories. Absolutely. We could go on forever, Alex. There's no hassles there. And that is the joy of the Trotters. And I'm tipping if you had won the last at Melton last Wednesday, there would have been another great story. One thing I've just got to correct myself on. It is not Sunday week. Please, it's this Sunday. I have to promote days, don't I? If I get everyone going a week later, I'm not really doing my job, am I?
No, but I mean, it's a great initiative by Harness Breeders Victoria and Elderbaron Park and other studs with their stallions are quite prepared to support it. We just hope that there's more information out in the media than, you're doing a great job, Paul, and it's on Twitter and a few other things, but it'd be nice to think that Harness Racing Victoria and other jurisdictions could support what's going on, the initiatives that are being created. But no, look, it's always great to talk to you, Paul. Thank you. We'll keep on social media and wherever I can, we'll keep people abreast of where Zeus is at. And, the next 3 weeks we'll see where things end up, and hopefully Zeus can do us proud as Just Believe did up in Europe. We hope to be able to do the same thing in America.
No, very good, Dunk. Thank you.
Righto, mate.
I'm going to go through a wrap. Just hang on one sec. Michael House, one of the greatest accomplishments any stand anywhere in the world in the last 50 years. One of the greatest any stand anywhere in the world. We must have said something for that to be triggered.
Oh, that would have been Sundon.
Sundon. Yes, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And Michael's spot on.
Yeah, so. Yes. I mean, I'm going to go through the results, and I'm tipping there'll be at least 3 or 4 Sundon mares that have left winners at the least for the week. It's just ridiculous. So, yeah.
No. All right, mate.
Thank you. I really appreciate you coming on. And
regards to everybody. And Elderbaron Park, we're hot to trot and fresh as bed.
Rightio. Good as gold. Thank you, mate.
Good on you.
See ya.
Righto.
Duncan McPherson there joining me on Talking Trotters for What the Hill and Woodlands Stud. And I can see when I sit down with Michael House, it's going to be a long story talking Trotters, which I really are excited about. Rightio, as always, we will go through all of the results for the week just gone, and compliment all the people. But yeah, I do really appreciate everyone that gets involved in the show, and also What the Hill and Woodlands Stud for their continued support. So we always start on a Tuesday, unless the show's on a Monday, and we've got a couple here to do. We'll go to Albion Park first. Now I'm going to give Albion Park, actually, if there's anyone still on there, drive-by, because Trotting Tuesday next week takes a whole new meaning, because the first race is actually a pacing race, not this week, but next week. So just need a little clip behind the ears, but that's okay. We'll go from there. Gate with Grace, the filly we said that's going around next Saturday night. 3 from 3 by my high expectation out of Nora Jones. Great story. We will get someone from that camp on. Probably we won't muzzle. We'll wait until after Saturday night. Hopefully Gate from Grace can win the triad final for them, and yeah, we'll get someone on there as well. And Phenomenal. This name had me for a little while, couldn't work it out, but Phenomenal for Darren McCall. Darren's a great supporter of the Campbell's Comments platforms. He shares and likes a lot of the stuff that I do put out there, so I really appreciate the help that Darren gives me, and well, great to see him get a winner. Won easy too, 19 metres, went for home down the back track, back straight, and won quite easily. Out of Swede Dreams, beautifully bred mare that has a few issues. She's got 2 foals. Actually, the other horse is an Elder Baron. Duncan McPherson bought it at the sales, and I'm going to tell you her name, Aldebaran Frida. Then there is a Volstead filly and a Southwind Frank as well. So just as you can see there, she misses, and she can be a little bit hard to get, I think, cycling and in foal, but yeah, beautifully bred mare, and going from there. So well done to you, Darren McCall. I was meant to say about the New South Wales and what the guys are doing in New South Wales to Duncan, but I'm sure he's right across it and excited about it as well. Okay, Last Clansman, Tintin in America, out of Breed to Win. Another pacing bred also, because Tintin's actually left a couple of paces now, because Let Us Trot is by Tintin as well for Elizabeth Heath and Robbie Morris, but also Bred to Win. Now they're safely kept now, of course, another one that left Trotters. And then Fox Trot Hill by Muscle Hill out of She's a Cop for Johnny Ogden, beating King City, and I'm a Gypsy Queen. They were the 2 at Albion Park, Menangle. We went to Bendigo after that, and there was a big lot of trotters going around here. It was a pretty big week for trot races in Victoria. Not quite sure how many there were. Sky Valley out of Kai Valley Pink. Jim Conley with Kai Valley Anthony and Benny Hope got the reins there, beating Sorella, and Spirited Lass for the guys from Cranbourne, the Jemison boys. The Silent Revere, beautifully bred filly. Dave Scott mentioned about Cranbourne there. Of course, Dave Scott's in charge there for Joe Vassallo and James Herbertson, beating Shield Maiden, Poppy Popstar, Tara McMahon. Then 2-year-old fillies. This is a second win in a row for Link in Bio, a filly that is going places. Doesn't win by a lot, but does a good job out of Starkers, beating Dora Lee and Courage Law. Now, Courage's Law is by Sundine's Courage. We want that horse to be at the races on the same day as his dad. There's a story. He had a couple in that race there as well, but yeah, so Courage Law. 1, we want him winning. 2, we want him to be at the races now. There was one other trot. Here we are. Oh, there was 2 actually. Alfie Always for Ray Cross and Liam Older. Johnny Caldo with Sangriel, and then Baxter for Benny Hope. And as I said there before, Benny's gone back there to New Zealand. He's back in New Zealand as we speak. Hopefully he's asleep. And Shadow Justice, another pacing bred horse winning for the day by Shadow Play out of Double Justice, and Albert Mare. It's a horse that gelding that's had a few issues. Chris Alford trained him there for a little while. He was a little bit of a handful, but yeah, he got the chockies for connections. Didn't have a look at Globe Derby. Easiest way to do it. There's 2. He's an Avenger for Brad Ango by Kin Van Avenger, horse that does a great job, and Gay Truscott, Luke O'Neill. Beat Horse of Course and the Best Official. And we'll go to this last race. There it is there. Confiscated a Sebastian K out of Illawong Clyde. Illawong, the Hartnets we were talking there before. Colin Holliway and the crew there as well, beating Sky Valley Surfer Girl, and Pies riding Shotgun, and previous Brett Lilly trained horses as well. But yeah, had a pretty good week going forward. So that was Tuesday. Wednesday once this clicks over. Thank you. We went to Melton on the Wednesday night. There was the 1200 metre races. There was a couple of trot races. We ran second in this race, beaten by Jakarta for Norm Jenkins and Andy and Kate Gaff. That was first up from New Zealand. Jakarta went very good. They trotted 2 minutes for the 52 to 64 rated horses. So End Over Sun was a nice third. And then I'm pretty sure the last 2 races, yes, Suellen is how you say this horse's name. It gets me in trouble. Driven by the brother. Great to see him back driving winners. Dandify and Buckles for Dennis Greaves, Greg Sugars, and Dandify for Diane Giles and Lance Justice. And then Dicko Dixon for Bob Cookermeister and Darryl Prosser. Alexander Hurley said there before. So 7-year-old horse getting the chockies there for the gentleman. Don't want to know their age. We will leave that alone. IR Lee in the breeding, so you know who that is, of course. Dickie Lee beating Mr. Whitaker. Tension Seeker, Tiara Stride coming in 5th. So that was a another good lot of trotters there on the Melton meeting. That was on the Wednesday. Thursday night there was 2, or Thursday, sorry, there was 2 trot races on the Thursday. One was at Stall. Valerie Lane by Father Patrick out of Val Sue getting the chocolates, beating Rastamon, and Dancing All Alone for Timmy O'Brien. Tina Rittis had a pretty good week. And then Ichuka, I tell you, this is a good one. Ichuka, I wonder if Neville and Louise are still watching, but Dealers knocked by 10 No Trump out of Sonny Coliola for Gary Scoble, Neil McKellen. Neil doesn't drive that often anymore. The 9-year-old, it's had a lot of ability, had a lot of issues. Beating Black Range Glory for Trevor Ralph, also, stable name is Paulie, but also by 10 No Trump. Unfortunately, Mr. Combatant spoiled the party because Wildom Zove, the horse that ran 4th, is also by 10 No Trump. So there could have been 3 10 No Trumps in the trifecta of 10 No Trumps, which would have been really, really cool. But not to happen, but not to worry either. So well done to Gary Scoble and the crew there. Friday we've done Bendigo. Saturday night we went to Melton and hang on a sec. We might have to go back there because I'll get into trouble from my Queensland friends before I do that, because there was a race at Cranbourne with at Albion Park with Funny Face taking it out, beat Surf Fahrenheit and Sugar and Spice. We should have called that the New Zealand Cup, because have a look at them. NZ after every horse, 100% of it. I don't care. I reckon it's great. Horses one enjoying themselves, going around for $15,000 as well. So well done to New South Wales, Queensland for putting that on. And I reckon there was a trot. No, there wasn't a trot at. I thought there was a trot. No, it must have fell over that week. There was a couple at Globe Derby. It was a good story out of Globe Derby too, that their numbers are up, things are on the improve, which is really good. Willis Graham by Andover Hall at a Sun Lamp for Luke O'Neill, and I think I saw there was another one. There's another 2 or 3 races on the 8-event card, which is great. So Vogue by Love You out of Brylan Cresling. That horse features a little bit, beating Elderbaron Gwen and My Bad Habits. And the Bahoon by Yankee Spider out of El Twatter for Brad Aylett, beating Millie's Magic and Love Lawn. Powder Keg running 4th over there. So he's returned to racing over there. Vatican Hill, Trevor Muir snuck that horse across there. Didn't see that. A little bit sneaky, some of these people, but yeah, good to see. So that was Saturday night. Sunday, there was a huge amount of trotters going around at Melton, and it's Kilmore. We started with the Buds and Branches, race number 5 with a cool investment for Ronnie Comben and Johnny Keldo getting up the sprint lane, beating the 2 Lily runners. Here comes Kai Valley, and You Really Got Me. There was 2 2-year-old trots. There was a 3-year-old trot as well with Dichotomy by Elderbaron Eagle, Nick Hooper and Paul Graydon in the winner's circle. They had a couple of winners, I think. Got to highlight one other one there in a minute, beating Majestic Tooth and SK's Hollywood. And we also had here the 2 2-year-old trots. This horse's name is Paul too. I actually know that. He's by Volstead out of Stoned Till Dawn, bred by Jess Tubbs, owned by Jess and her mum, Greg Sugars, trained. Tunbridge beating Stride Hill and Elderbaron Campbell and Flying Time. I think this is a pretty good race here. They only zipped up the straight, but I think it'll be a bit of a form race. Those 2 colts have been trialling very good, and Aldebaran Campbell, I believe, had been trialling very good as well. And then Majestic Jar Jar for Mary Jane Mifsud. Ellen Tormey took the drives, beating Dreams of Love and Aldebaran's Delinsky, coming in third in that race there. So that was the 2-year-old trots with quite a few. It was good to see a couple of big fields of 2-year-old trotters getting ready. As I said, September 4th. And then, very quickly, we go to Maryborough today. And there was a couple of trot races here. Vitor Lamy, any of the professional bull riders will know Vitor Lamy. Donna Castles got the chockies. I think that was its first win by Kinvad Avenger out of Bright and Lucky, beating Aldebaran Spartacus, Darren Cole, Jackie Barker, and Roll with Roscoe for Clinton Welsh. Bringing up the top 3 now. There was one other trot. There it is there. Kai Valley Heist. For the Kai Valleys in Aldebaran Park, Brent Lilly, Tristan Larson from New Zealand get the chockies, beating No Biggie and Melecki. And it must have been, Globe Derby today. I know Nick Hooper has bred a horse today that got the chockies, I think anyway. Stuart Aspey with Pies riding Shotgun, beating Orlando's Gift, and got Fantasy, Jim Connolly with Kai Valley Surf Rider, beating Hurricane Ed and Emma Joy. I don't know where I saw it. Bullion Girl for the Matthews by Wishing Stone. Duncan mentioned Wishing Stone. There you go. Beating Majestic Summer and Miss Bloomfield. Now, I've missed a horse somewhere that I found while I was going through the run-through. Nick Hooper and Paul Graydon bred it. Don't know where it won at though. But anyway, congratulations to those guys and everyone else. Lockie McMahon, Nathan Rice, Gary Newton. Gary's going to tell me off. We'll get up to here. There is a stay and tender on. I've got so much on here. There it is. To get through. So there's a South Australian trotting tender. You can get in touch with Reg, Sharon, or Gary. Again, go back and watch this on replay if you like. 0415 718 545, but I find it easier just to get them there. If you've got your pen by now, we'll give Gary's number 0402 978 424. And if you've only got your pen now, call Sharon on 0481 170 977 for the opportunity of getting a stay and tender around the 70% of advertised price. So King of the North is at 7,900. He arrives on the 16th, which is Wednesday. Peak for 2-2. Cardigan Boko. Speeding Spur for Woodlands stud. Dancing in the Dark M for Aldebaran Park. Sky Valley for Aldebaran Park. Sundine's Courage for Truscott Lodge. And Kinvat Avenger, who actually had a winner with, might have actually had 2 winners. What's Pies riding Shotgun by? No, Danny Boucher. So had a good week as well. That's a wrap. As I said, make sure that if you can't find it anywhere else, go to Canadian standardbredcanada.ca to find the website to go and watch all the World Driving Championship races. You can watch all of those in replay just there. Great to see so many different angles as well going forward. And as I said, this show is proudly brought to you by, I have to find it, I label things with the different names. What the Hill, 12 wins, 8 placings, $1,345,999. Surely they could have given him an extra buck to make it 466. Best time 151 and 4. He's a Bay Colt. 15.3 hands. His service fee is $7,000 in the NZ and 7.7 in Australia, including the GST. So make sure you get in touch with the team at Woodlands and go there. So woodlandstud.co.nz for all the details is the best way to get in touch with it. Or Mark Hughes. I'm going to use his number on here. Probably would have been a good thing, but that's okay. We've got quite a few people still watching, so thank you very much to all that have watched. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show. Congratulations to everyone that's got a winner through the week. Looks like a little bit of a quiet week. A couple of feature races going on up in Queensland. Haven't done anything at all for the New Zealand Trotters. I might have to start getting on that. The New Zealand show will be coming back. Won't be tomorrow, but we'll try and get it back on at some point in time. But thank you for everyone that's tuned in. Thanks to everyone that's contributed some great stories during the week. Keep enjoying them. Don't forget to go back, if you've just tuned in now, go back and have a listen to Dave Wonson with the encouraging signs in New South Wales for trotting. 2 big races, 2 $25,000 races with heats, the Carousel and the Arizona Blue coming forward. So really exciting there, and some big things happening hopefully very shortly for everyone. But hopefully you get a winner. Get out and get a trotter and enjoy it. And huge thank you, as I said, to the team at Woodlands and What the Hill for supporting and sponsoring this show.
Yes, Mickey, with less than a 16th to go. What the Hill, a short lead. Lindy the Great to the inside. Yes, Mickey, coming to the wire. It's What the Hill and David Miller winning the
pocket sitter. Turned first over attacker What the Hill, and behind them Dover Dan from in third. International Money still got work to do. They're in deep stretch, and here comes What the Hill and Miller on the outside. What the Hill converting off the pocket trip to win the Canadian Trotting Classic. He won it by 3 going away. It's What the Hill.
Third, 3/4, 124 and 2 into the stretch. Looks like a Chippendale appears to be on the verge. Crazy Wild trying to fend him off. Room at the rail for What the Hill. He's raging late. And in heavy traffic is Pinkman on the far outside. Dason trying to close in. But off the rail comes What the Hill, the 3-year-old. What the Hill to seal his division. What the Hill. Then Dason. And then it was Pinkman third and Mambo Lindy fourth. What the Hill in 151 and 4 in the TVG.